In my hand, I planned and designed and built about 500,000 units of public flats.
There are no two homes that bear a formulaic approach.
When you look at the Singapore environment, it looks neat. It doesn't look artificial, like building made out of factories. They look organic, and you don't feel oppressed. All these things did not happen by chance. It was all carefully calculated.
We deal a lot with private owners who come to us to do architecture, and we consider ourselves doing architectural houses as just fillers and footnotes to the larger vision that you have actually laid out. And we are just grateful for that. In 2003, I started RT&Q Architects, a firm that I co-founded with Mr. T.K. Kwek, hence RT plus Q Architects. For the past 20 years, we have been doing architecture for a variety of types of projects, most notably residential homes in architecture in Singapore. And we have to date finished about 150-60 houses. We are happy to be doing a lot of residential work because we find that a unique challenge. Every project is a new project for us in that sense, because there are no two homes that bear a formulaic approach. For example, is this house in Singapore at Gallop Park. The client said, how about a house with curves? So we said, what about us designing a completely curvilinear house for you? And that sort of liberated us to think beyond literally the box. We have remained very friendly with the owner, who appears very house proud. And it is really these moments that we live for. We consider ourselves grateful to be practicing architecture in Singapore today. What Tiger and his contemporaries has provided is a framework within which we should do our craft as architects. It's very important to acknowledge this, because while everyone, the world and Singapore, looks towards the future, there is an important bit of history that everyone, like us, ought to be familiar with. The master planning of Singapore provides for bungalows, semi-detached houses, condominiums, terrace houses, and it is really an encyclopedic condition to the human condition. So the next generation of architects will know to do their part in fulfilling this broader vision of architecture for Singapore.
I came back in 1969 to work for HDB and worked there for 20 years. Eventually became their CEO. And then at 89, we have solved the housing problem. Then I was asked to be the chief planner and the CEO of Urban Redevelopment Authority, which is a planning authority. After I finished the concept plan for Singapore in 1991, I felt that I had done my duty as a citizen. So I joined RSB as a consulting firm in architecture and engineering and worked for 25 years. But 2017, I set up the Moral Architects and Planners. In my life, I have done quite a few architecture projects. In Singapore, of course, the largest amount of architecture work I did would be public housing. In fact, in my hand, I planned and designed and built about 500,000 units of public flats, shop houses for town centers, neighborhood centers, different types of factories, as well as sports complex or even the mosque. Among the buildings I've done in Singapore after I joined the private sector, one of them is NAFA, Nanyang Academy of Fine Arts. When I was doing the project, I decided I would still build to the full area, but maintain the cost to the equivalent to factory buildings. So how do I create a building with such a low cost per square meter and yet with artistic environment? I look at the roof profiles, I look at the facade proportions and also use the collection of colors you found commonly among the first generation Nanyang School of Arts in Singapore.
What I realized that Singapore has done very well is the difference between just trying to maximize things for advantage of any sort, but instead to optimize opportunities. So it's this very delicate balance in providing for people of all walks of life. Being an architect who does smaller scale projects, we appreciate the land that has been allotted to these dwellings in contrast to the larger tracts of land that has been given to public housing.
I was very concerned that if we don't have enough landed properties, in the future, when our economy thrives and we get a lot of billionaires, where would they go? Therefore, when I was a trip planner, my staff told me that there were 7% of landed property in the urbanized area. I asked them to study to find out how to increase it. And fortunately, they managed to find the areas to increase it to 11%. Nowadays, in Singapore, despite our high density, our land shortage, and yet you can find good cars bungalows. So a planner should not just go straight into a high density. In fact, I learned this from management course called lateral thinking. A lot of this thinking that I've just said to you actually create the Singapore that you see today.
And I think it's been 50 or 60 years in the making, and now one can really appreciate the work that, Taika, that you have done when you were at HDB and subsequently at the URA. And everyone loves the city and to a certain extent enjoying it without really knowing the hard work and the details that the planners like you have put in. I would like to tell Singapore that they should just walk out there, look around and enjoy the place that they're actually living in, and then just giving some thought to the ideas that have actually shaped it.
Thank you.